You've been the calm one so long. You've forgotten what panic feels like in your own chest. Everyone leans on you, and you let them. But there's a cost to being the strong one that nobody talks about, and it's not what you think. You're the person people call at 2 a.m., the one who holds it together when everything falls apart. You don't cry in front of others. You don't collapse. You absorb the weight and keep moving. And for a long time, you wore that like armor. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. You stopped feeling things as deeply. Not because you're numb, but because your brain learned to shut the door before the feeling could flood in. Psychologists call this emotional suppression, and it doesn't just hide your pain. It rewires how you connect with yourself. Here's what most people get wrong. They think being emotionally strong means you're resilient, but resilience and suppression are not the same thing. Resilience is flexibility. Suppression is rigidity. One bends, the other breaks quietly over time. You're not broken for feeling this way. You're adapted. Your brain learned to survive in an environment that didn't have space for your emotions, and that adaptation worked until it didn't. So what's actually happening inside your brain? When you suppress emotions repeatedly, you're activating your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain responsible for control and logic. It's like a dimmer switch on your limbic system, the emotional center. The more you use that switch, the more automatic it becomes. Your brain starts suppressing before you even notice the feeling. This is called expressive suppression, and research shows it has a cost. It increases physiological stress, heart rate, cortisol, blood pressure. Your body is still responding to the emotion. You're just not letting it reach the surface. And over time, this creates something called alexithymia, a disconnection from your own emotional experience. You stop knowing what you feel. Not because you don't care, but because the signal never makes it through. So, how do you undo this? Not by suddenly letting it all out, but by rebuilding the bridge between your body and your mind. Here are 5 principles rooted in psychology. Name the sensation, not the emotion. Your brain suppresses emotions, but it can't suppress sensations as easily. Start by noticing, where do I feel this in my body? Tightness in your chest, tension in your jaw, heaviness in your limbs. This is called somatic awareness, and it bypasses the cognitive filter. You're not asking what you feel, you're asking where you feel it. Practice micro-releasing. You don't need a breakdown to process emotion. You need small, repeated moments of release. Psychologist Dr. Jonas Webb calls this emotional attunement. It's the practice of letting one feeling move through you at a time. Cry for 2 minutes in your car. Journal 3 sentences. Breathe into the tightness. Small doses, frequent practice. Stop performing strength. There's a difference between being strong and performing strength. Performing strength means curating how others see you. Being strong means allowing yourself to be human in private. Researcher Brené Brown found that people who suppress vulnerability don't just hide sadness. They dull joy, connection, and meaning too. Because you can't selectively numb emotion. When you turn down the volume on pain, you turn it down on everything. Reframe support as reciprocity, not weakness. You've been conditioned to believe that needing help makes you a burden. But neuroscience shows the opposite. When you allow someone to support you, you activate their brain's reward centers. You give them purpose. You let them feel needed. This is called reciprocal altruism. And this is how humans are wired to bond. Strength isn't doing it alone. Strength is knowing when to let someone in. Grieve the role you played. This is the hardest one. You've been the strong one for so long, it's become your identity. And letting that go feels like losing yourself. But here's the truth. You were never just the strong one. You were a whole person who learned to hide half of themselves. And reclaiming that other half isn't weakness, it's integration. Psychologist Carl Jung called this individuation. The process of becoming whole by embracing what you've disowned. Here's the mental model that ties it all together. Think of your emotional life like a river. For years, you've been building a dam, holding everything back, keeping it controlled. But rivers aren't meant to be dammed forever. The pressure builds, the structure cracks. What you need isn't a bigger dam. You need a canal, a way to let the water flow slowly, intentionally, without flooding everything. That's what emotional strength actually is. Not suppression, but regulation. Not control, but flow. You've carried so much for so long, and no one gave you permission to put it down. So I'll say it now. You don't have to be strong all the time. You don't owe anyone your composure. And you are not less valuable when you feel. The people who truly see you won't need you to be unbreakable. They'll just need you to be real. Subscribe if you want to understand people and yourself at a deeper level.